Hi, you guys. Like Jimmy said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start this panel off. It's going to be really great. We're going to have our featured makeup artists. They're going to show off some of their models, talk about some of their work and their mediums, and then we're going to open it up for questions for you guys to ask them, and then we'll just go from there, and we're going to have a good time, all right? So I want to go ahead and bring in our featured makeup artists and some of their models. So come on in, you guys, and welcome our featured makeup artists. We don't bite. We share, we love.
We can share. Say hi, everybody.
Hi.
Everybody.
Cool. All right, you guys. So we are gonna just let them all introduce themselves, what they're familiar with, and then we will start with, I'll start with a question, and then we'll let you guys talk about some of your projects and things that you're working on. We'll talk about models and the breakdowns, and we'll talk about other stuff, and then we'll ask some questions.
Hey everybody, James Balsamo here, CEO of Acid Bath Productions. Thanks for coming down, guys. I've produced over 100 film products, and I've done makeup on all of them. So let's rock and or roll, one or the other.
Air Magic, I do the airbrushing, and I'm next to Mr. Dan over here.
So I don't like
Yeah, Air Magic, that is.
Hi, my name is Corey. I'm a portrait painter. I'm right out there. I do realistic portraits. I've been living abroad for about a year doing that for a living. And last year I produced a book with about 150 portraits in it. And I was recently in the Crocker Art Museum and sold work there about a week or two ago. So that's what I do.
My name is Robert Reimers. I'm a fabricator, sculptor, painter, but I also work in film. So I'm a director of photography. I do lighting. I've directed a few pieces, and so I've always been an artist. So I love the idea that you can, while making a film, you can almost utilize every form of art and every type of person that can make art. And so I think to be an artist is a gift, and I've never stopped.
Hi, my name is Dan Acosta. I'm with Happy Death FX. I do a lot of independent and B-budget type movies. So if you're into watching the movies late night, you might have seen some of my work. Do a lot of stuff, Photoshop shots. What do you call those? Photo shoots. Thank you. Here at SAC as well. 2D design as well. Love art. A lot of fun.
Hi everyone, my name is Rain Williamson, Rain Factor FX. I'm a local special effects makeup artist, and I do set design as well.
Hi, I'm Nicole Chaleli. Oh my God, it's really loud. I was a season 3 winner of Face Off, and I do special effects. I make props. I make mermaid stuff. I've done a lot of makeup for the dive bar mermaids in Sacramento based. So I've been out here quite a bit, teach classes quite a bit. I love teaching. I want to do it more. So yeah, I have my own shop, Vicious Vanity Effects, and have stuff on my Etsy, and that's what I do.
Hi, my name is Kaylin Ashley. I am a creature, character designer, and multimedia artist. I was a 2-time face-off loser. What's up? Season 7 and 11, and now I work in pretty much any kind of art form that'll have me. And I just like to make art.
Fantastic. Okay, so I want to start off by asking all of our artists, what is a medium that you have used, experienced with, dabbled with, that after even so many years, it still seems to give you trouble and you either love to hate to work with it or you just don't work with it anymore?
So I'm furry, so I love and hate latex, but I'll tell you a good effects trick if you guys don't know. KY jelly will take that right off. So if you have a latex problem and you get it in your fur, just get a little bit of lube, comes right out. Seriously, it's, you know, a little bit of lube goes a long way.
Me is working with, I specialize in airbrushing, and it's usually myself. Working on artwork and when to stop a project and when to keep going, when to stop correcting myself and things like that. But usually as an artist, I think us as artists, we're going to say that we ourselves are sometimes our worst enemy, and when to stop a piece or keep going on a piece. And lately, I've just resorted to my muse, my wife, and talk to her, and she'll just tell me, "Hun, it's done. Move on to the next one."
Hi. So as a traditional oil painter, I'm fairly good and confident with oil paint, but watercolor is actually something I can't touch at all. I'm terrible at it. And so a lot of the time when it comes to my confidence in artists, the second I have to use a water-based medium, I'm like out the door on it. It's very obnoxious for me to use. I would also say that I hate self-portraits. And that's probably my biggest struggle, is that I try to do one a year, and every time I do it, I absolutely hate it. And it's a constant struggle to have to deal with that kind of break in confidence, because I know I can do a face very well, I know I can do likeness very well, but doing my own is like my own horror movie. It's very upsetting. So those are my challenges.
I like to work in a lot of over-the-counter items like spray paint, you know, enamel paints, and I think I've got a real love-hate relationship with enamel paint from the can. If it's glossy or satiny, it's kind of a gamble whether or not it's going to properly adhere to the prop or the costume item. So I tend to usually work with flat paint, like matte tone colors, because they'll dry a lot faster. And if later I wanted it to be glossy, I can then make it glossy. But I have had some really nightmare experiences with using glossy spray paint on something, and then it never dries, and then all your work that you had underneath that is history. You gotta start over again. So matte tones, I really like working in matte tones with paint.
I've got two. First one is I hate scar wax. Although it's fun to make little things and whatever you want out of them, it's just a pain in the butt to keep off your fingers, and I hate having to put lotion on every time I have to mold it. It's great for like just a one-shot pitch, in my opinion. I'm sure some of these guys know how little tricks to make it work better. And I absolutely hate clown white makeup. That's like the worst stuff to work with, in my opinion.
Greasy stuff.
Yeah.
I suffer from what I call the too much gene. I'm having a great time and making something like, yeah, this is good, this is good, this is good. It's too much, stop. It's too late, it's ruined. And then what I do is I tend to, I try to sleep on it, but I'm impatient and I just want things to be done then and immediately. So I have to remind myself to stop, slow down, and breathe. So sometimes you're your own worst enemy, and just kind of remember to take a few steps back and take a deep breath.
So many microphones.
Yeah.
Please take a few.
I think my main thing is I don't know if this is like a bad, I don't know, but like I don't like buying prosthetics. Like I don't like having like pre-made prosthetics. I'm a control freak, and I want to make everything from scratch myself, which is also awful because then I have to mold it, and then I have to run it in foam, and then I have to, or silicone or whatever I'm doing. So I make a ton of work for myself when I could probably just go buy like a prosthetic. But when I was first starting out in makeup, I would buy, you know, Benai wounds or latex wounds or Wuchi, oh God, Wuchi. And they would have these cookie cut edges, like it was almost like a scalloped edge, like that was supposed to be able to blend or something. And I was buying those, and I'm like trying to put those on and being my worst critic because they wouldn't blend into the skin and they looked terrible. And so then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna make my own. I'm gonna make the edges really thin. I'm gonna hand paint latex in molds and make it my own. And yeah, so that's what and this guy, I made him today. This is Doc Holliday from Tombstone. If you like that movie, it's my favorite. Thank you guys. That's my favorite character like ever. And I was like, how cool would it be to have like a Doc Holliday zombie? So that's what it is. And that's my husband. and sculpted the piece and molded it myself, and hated a lot of the molding process. But I love applying it, so there you go.
If I had to say a medium that I dislike working with, but I do end up working with a lot, is hair work or fur. It's the herpes of special effects, in my opinion. It shows up everywhere. You'll find it in your mouth, in your butt crack when you're not paying attention. Like, it's just everywhere. You'll find it everywhere for years to come. So yeah, it's probably that. And then, you know, I get triggered from the animal challenge with the face off. But yeah. Fun curse the devil.
All right, so do you guys want to share, sorry, do you guys want to share some of the current projects that you're working on?
So I'm currently doing a new movie with Malcolm McDowell and John Landis called Robot Dracula. So be on the lookout for that. It's fantastic. Go to my website, jamesbalsamo.com, or follow me on Twitter @AcidBathProduct, or add me on Instagram. My name is James Balsamo. I'll be your friend. And if anybody wants to make a movie, that's something I do. I have distribution in Walmart, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble. So if you put up half the budget, I put up the other half, and we make a movie. I shoot it in 5 days. Like I said, I produce over 100 films, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to make a movie, come to me.
Currently, I've done artwork for the Sinister Con, and I've got a lot of personal projects and just side jobs and things like that. I do classes and show people how to airbrush and how to use the medium and such as that. And then I guess my next project is going to be Halloween Sinister Con. So yeah.
So I'm a portrait artist, and I've been living abroad for the past year and putting together a new series. And so my next step is actually starting a whole new series of paintings, and they're actually a little bit different than my usual work. I'm going to do a whole series of a contemporary version of biblical angels, and so a lot of like very grotesque feather and like kind of scary work. If anyone is familiar with what they look like, they're very frightening. They're very frightening looking.
The cherubs?
Yeah, cherubs and thrones and things like that. I'm going to be doing a whole series of those, and so I'm looking forward to that, but it's going to be very different for me. So the next 6 months is going to be a lot of that, and I'm excited. Yeah.
We should follow the rules here.
So I currently just wrapped on our first unit of a film as a director of photography. It's titled Mirror of Humanity, and we took care of our principal photography for this first round, but to allow time because the second unit is going to involve up to 6 creature costumes, and it takes place in the wilderness, and we'll have 6 different creature actors, so that's going to be pretty exciting for me. And Alan Carnes is the director. He's also the special effects fabricator, and you can look it up on Facebook, Mirror of Humanity Film. I also do work over at Heartstoppers, Haunted House with Brain. We do makeup art, we fabricate, do a little bit of acting and costume design. Anything and everything I can get my hands on that's creative. I'm either doing photography, product photography, stop motion animation, model photography, or acting in bits with friends, or doing my own films.
So I've got a few things going on right now. Just wrapped a movie. It's more of a documentary kind of a thing. It should be out in the next, hopefully 3-4 months. It's called Black Mamba. Look out for it. That's all I can say about that one. Working on a movie right now. Should be wrapped in September. It's called Blood Moon Rising. That is a Western werewolf movie. So I'm pretty excited about that one. And a bunch of other stuff coming up. Little indie films and stuff like that you can catch at SAC. Tower, I think it is, right, for the film is? Yeah, the SAC Tower. As far as other projects going on, I just like to sit home and draw a lot of pictures, and sometimes I build models for no reason at all, just to keep my fingers going, you know, because if you don't do it, you forget how to do it sometimes.
Hello. I just worked on a few projects. I wrapped on one called Barbed Wire, which was shot locally. It's a feature that should be coming to streaming services soon. I'm very excited. And then literally 2-3 days ago, Trevor and I wrapped on a short film called Along Came Ruby. It's a post-apocalyptic kind of journey, finding yourself, weird, wiggly, wobbly, timey-wimey things going on. I did makeup and set design. He helped me with set design and did work.
What was the question? What were we working on?
What are we working on?
Okay, so yes, for the past year, I've been working on a film for a church, which is kind of crazy. It's a biblical film, so I was doing the crucifix wounds on Jesus's hand and making like a Satan, which isn't like the Satan I would want to make, but it was a toned down version of Satan, which I did. And then various wounds and stuff like that for the film. So I've been working on that for about a year. Also, you know, like I'm always available for film, so I love doing that. But I also like making stuff at home. So I have like, you know, mermaid bras that I'm making and like masks and different prosthetics. So for now, after the film is pretty much wrapped, we only have one more thing to do, and then I'm going to be just working on stuff at home to sell online because I love that part.
All of you are making me feel very lazy. I have been doing a lot of life stuff. I recently got engaged and I have a puppy as of last week. And yay! And then I do have some stuff upcoming. I have an art show in LA called the Chocolate and Art Show. I said yes to it for the chocolate, let's be real. And then I have a short film subsequently after that called The Waiting Room. And that's kind of all I can really say about it, other than I just do a cool burn makeup. And then I have San Diego Comic-Con coming up. I have a few different projects with different cosplayers and different artists. I do work a lot with the cosplay community, doing creature and character stuff for just regular average cosplayers, and as well as working with like larger corporation stuff like Marvel. I think some like comic books, some other names. I have that coming up. And then after that, I've just also been renovating a house, so that takes a lot of my time. So
You're real lazy there.
I'm so lazy with like art stuff, but
Yeah.
like life has been a
No
lot.
way, you've done a lot.
I guess if you want to look at that, never mind.
Just kidding, just kidding. Busy. Sorry, we're the worst.
Don't put us together ever,
No, don't.
but also do it. It's fun.
We were in the house together on season, what, 7?
Yes.
And she forgot about it, but we played Red Light Green Light.
Listen, I blacked out a lot of Face Off for trauma reasons.
Oh my god.
Would you guys like to show off your models and talk about some of the work that you've done today on them?
Sure. Why don't you start with yours?
Okay. Well, yeah, so mine is obviously Doc Holliday. I'm so excited. It makes me really happy. I don't know why. But that's why we do art. We do art to make ourselves smile, and like getting back to doing that is great. I've taken some time off to like have a son and a house, and I'm like, so I'm like beaming right now. But we have a chest piece that is basically glued to a shirt, which is an easy way to make a chest piece. So I glued that to a shirt, and then I have another shirt on top of it. I have a foam latex prosthetic on his face, and yeah, there we go. And I painted it with Pax paint as base to seal it, and then I airbrushed and hand painted all the little veins and everything, and then he has like a little mustache and a goatee, and that's it. And then I made a costume. I mean, I didn't make it, but like I put all the pieces together. I just hand sewed those jeans. Yeah, it took me forever. I styled it. I put everything together, and I found this really cool gun that's like a real gun, which is like, it's not real, but it's like a real prop gun for people to learn how to do sharpshooting. So it's like the real weight of it. It's really cool. I got it for $15 at a yard sale. So anyway, that's it.
So mine is the Neon Demon. That's it. That's all she is. But I just really sometimes I do a lot of dark, spooky, scary shit, and sometimes I just want to have a little bit of fun with color and vibrancy. The whip just happened to be in her shoes. That wasn't a planned item, by the way. Her shoes also broke, so that's why she's not wearing them right now. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Photos from the waist up. It's for TikTok. So I applied using Dyad Prosthetics. They're a company owned by Kat and Nico from season 6, and also 11 with me as well. And they're a great, amazing company. I have been helping support them from the ground up. Not like that, but like I've been a supporter and a fan of theirs since they started the company. And so any chance I get to use their prosthetics, I will. I was very much in the school of thought of I have to do everything myself for a long time as well. I think as femme artists, we feel like we have a lot to prove sometimes. And so we were like, we have to do all of the things. But y'all, I'm tired. I got a puppy baby now. I'm trying to, put stuff together with my house. So prosthetics, the generic ones are a great way to go. So this was just a fun kind of amalgam of
Their
pieces.
edges are good.
And their edges are
good,
beautiful.
so those are-
They're a nice in between. There's rubberware prosthetics, if you're aware of them, that are, a little bit on the cheaper end. They're not Ruchi, and they're not like as expensive as something like RBFX, where like $300 for a pair of ears sometimes, which peace and love, I can't afford that all the time, So yeah, I love that they're a great option. I painted with European Body Arts, love them as well. And I do want to do a little more zhuzhing at my table, hopefully before the end of the con, probably not, but this was a fun little, love letter to just hot pink, I guess, for me. It's a Barbie demon.
It's fun. It's fun, and it's making you smile.
Yeah, life in plastic, it's
There we
fantastic.
go. Oh, Rain had one too. Yeah. So we just stay close to her. Oh, it's okay.
I talked a lot, sorry.
I used one of their prosthetics yesterday.
Ooh.
Edges are
They're
spread.
nice. Very nice.
Yes.
Don't mind us fanning about prosthetics up here, guys. It just gets us hot.
Yesterday I did kind of a 80s themed vampire. Today, post-apocalyptic survivor. Do stand. Do one stand. Some exposure burns and little pustules and gross nasties, and he just kind of looks like he's running around out in the wastelands. He might steal from you, I don't know. Yeah, nasty. Yeah, he's fun. Give us pieces of those. They are from, they're a combination, but I've been into Out of Kit FX lately.
Yes.
Out of Kit, oh my gosh. They're fast to apply, the edges, they blend nicely. I'm a big fan of silicone transfers, so for me, I'm like, oh, beautiful, love
Yes.
this.
What did you use for this thing?
That's one of their, that's a Out of Kit. It comes like that.
Wow. Yeah.
And then you just give a little smack and color and send them on his way. One little bap. Yeah, that's how you apply makeup, just smack them real good.
Smack it right on there.
Today, I got as elaborate as these young ladies here. Spent hours and, sorry, no, I didn't. I just did face painting today.
Not
Yeah.
just.
Well, I know, it's not just, I'm sorry. To me, it feels like just because the last few that I've been, I've done a lot of the prosthetics and stuff like that, and I was playing the lazy card today, sorry guys. I didn't feel like cleaning it up later. Taking it off seems to take longer than putting it on sometimes.
Didn't you get the winning costume
Yes, okay, I did.
Yeah.
All right, thank
No
you.
big deal.
now? Winning makeup.
I got my gentleman in the back, Snow. He's wearing my makeup for the skull contest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just did a skull wearing clown paint. So,
Okay.
Yes, no.
thank you, Snow. But yeah, the face painting stuff, it does if you practice a lot of it. When you're doing the prosthetics and stuff, it really helps when you want to, like for instance, on the Doc Holiday where the face is. Sometimes you get prosthetics and you can't make it look three-dimensional, even though it is three-dimensional. And that's where the shading and stuff comes in handy, so that way it makes it pop a little bit more. Other than that, I mean, that's all I got to say about my face paint.
Nice.
You've probably seen a couple of my costumes walking around yesterday and today. This is a little piece of part of my costume for today. It's only the top half, really. But this one actually I made for a sci-fi film that I starred in as an alien mercenary character. But again, it's only the top half. There's the whole bottom section. But actually, this one actually won me an award at the Thrills and Chills Film Festival for Best Monster and Best Costume and Production Design. But then also yesterday, you may have seen my lovely assistant Anne over here walking around in a large Spider-Woman costume with giant spider legs hanging out, red and gold. Thank you. Which actually won me this. I won it. So yeah, I love making things out of random pieces, like recycled. Pretty much all of the stuff I make is out of recycled parts, pieces of plastic, toys, appliances that I'll take apart. And you see, like in my garage, I've got storage bins full of random pieces of plastic just because they're cool shapes. And you know, if I find two identical ones, I'm like, cool, now it's a helmet or shoulders, or like take a baseball helmet, saw it in half, and suddenly you've got two pauldrons of armor. You know, it's very wasteland, but also I like the sci-fi elements, so I like a lot of cyberpunk type of stuff. And it's a good genre, I feel, for my medium. I like taking random shapes, putting them together, and turning them into something. And you see that thing, but then you get up close and you see like, oh wait, that's a little toy car, and that's a little this, and that's some tubing from my vacuum cleaner. And I think that when I see other artists do that, it's very inspiring to think that, oh yeah, I can make anything out of anything. I can go to a thrift store or to the grocery store or department store and grab a bunch of random parts. But if you put it together in the right way, you give it a paint job, put it in the right lighting, it can be anything.
I don't have anything to show. I don't have any makeup or anything like that. I will say that I use a lot of recycled stuff when I paint because I hate canvas. And because I hate canvas and I was living abroad and they have different kinds of supplies there, I was walking around neighborhoods in like Japan and stuff and gathering wood and like old discarded stuff and sanding it down in my very small apartment. And fashioning it into surfaces to paint on when I was painting, and I had to pay a large fee to ship my stuff back because American immigration didn't like that I was using Japanese wood, and they thought that it carried some kind of like parasite or something, and I had to be vetted to get my work back. But I like to be creative with what I do when I paint. I use a lot of vintage things. When I was in Europe, I used a lot of vintage wallpaper that I would find in like thrift stores and stuff and paint on that. Whatever makes it more thrilling. After like 300 paintings, it's a little boring to paint on store-bought panels. So I try to make it fun.
One of my first business cards said, airbrush almost anything on almost everything, which opened up the field to motorcycles, cars, helmets, and such. Currently, I'm just doing like I said, Sinister on canvases and prints and such. But yeah, airbrush on almost anything is my credo. And I've received a few, like, what was a prosthetic leg one time? Somebody wanted airbrush. That was kind of weird. And helmets are round and kind of weird to airbrush on. And so you got to keep that sort of, around and things like that. Cars are always interesting because you got to airbrush on your knees unless you get the car up a little bit or you take the hood off and things like that. Airbrushing on people is also interesting because a lot of people are afraid of it and things like that. But,
Anywhere around the face.
right, you get on the face and you get scared. I had a little booth for tattoo airbrushes, and a lot of kids are just afraid of the concept of getting air on them or something. They shy away. But yes, it's interesting on like all of these guys just have been a whole new world to me, and I appreciate all your guys' work, really good stuff. I'm humbled with all you guys, and just to be in this panel, yeah.
All right, get ready to be blown away. This is all silicone. And actually a goldfish. Impressed?
It's an anatomy.
You.
Yeah. So we're gonna throw it back to probably an oldie but goodie question. But what inspired you to start getting into makeup? What was that one thing that just sparked that passion for you? Or art, or whatever your medium is?
It was Tom Savini, and I'm lucky enough to have him in one of my films, Cool as Hell, with David Naughton, and that's out now. So go check out Cool as Hell. But yeah, it was Tom Savini for me. I just being an Italian American and loving his effects, it was Tom Savini's books, and I still work mainly in latex because I think silicone, for me, it looks like a gummy bear on film. and silicone just has like a more rigid look, which is what I like. So that's because of Savini.
I got one. So yeah, my introduction into airbrushing was back in my college days, which is a while back. But I got asked to help my buddy paint a mural at a local club that was just opening. And so there we were, ladders and airbrushing the mural. And my payment was an airbrush. He paid me with an airbrush, and like they say, it took off like wildfire. So that was my introduction into airbrushing. And back then I didn't know nothing. I was still in college, learning how to do color scale and things like that. But I was originally a pencil artist. I used to pencil fading out and a lot of portraits. I'm a natural artist, so I could literally draw you right here on the spot. But the airbrush really lends itself to all the fading and things like that. If you guys go see my booth, you see where it's sort of like a spray can, but it's in a little can, right? So that really, from the penciling and fading out and things like that, the airbrush was just natural to that, and that sort of progressed my art. And then for some reason, it just keystoned into airbrushing, and that was my introduction to airbrushing, and here I am.
So I have a really deep-seated interest in classical art because I'm a portrait painter. But I grew up here in Sacramento in the punk and hardcore scene. And I noticed growing up that a lot of classical art were the same people over and over again, the same types of people. And even now in the contemporary setting, people don't want to see all people in art, especially in a classic or traditional sense. And so when I moved to San Francisco and I was living there, I started painting people I would meet on the street, and punks and goth kids and whoever I could find, and I painted them in a classical way. And I found that to be the most interesting thing from a reactionary standpoint. People didn't know how to take that in, and that made me want to do it more. And that's how I developed my body of work. And that's what keeps me painting, is because it's really interesting to paint people hyper-realistic and really beautiful in this classic sense, but these people that most of society doesn't really want to have to acknowledge past a certain age. And it keeps me really interested. So that's why I do what I do.
Oh boy, where do I start? Probably since I was born. I've always been a maker of things and stuff. Kind of a funny story. For my birthday, there would always be some member of the family that would give me a box, and in the box it would be string, paper, pens, some tape, maybe some clay, and foil. One of my favorite things as a kid was foil, because I felt like I could make anything out of it. I've always loved movies. I've always loved special effects makeup and monsters. When I was younger, I thought that that's really what I wanted to do, so I experimented a lot with that. And I do makeup stuff on the side more as a hobby, but shifted more towards camera work. But the artist side of me never went away, so whenever I was doing films locally with friends and whatnot, I would always end up also doing production design or costume design or lighting, or all the magic elements that you can change and tweak, and just to make something, you see it in person, but then you look at it through the lens and you're like, wow, I don't, how does it look like that? It's just the magic of filmmaking still amazes me.
So I got into makeup kind of at a late start in life. I always wanted to be a poster bill artist. I don't know if you guys know what poster bills are, but if you're into hardcore punk or thrash or even any old Grateful Dead, they used to make posters, and they used to hang them all over the place and let you say, hey, they're coming. Did that for about 4 or 5 years, never got any traction on it, kind of bummed out about it. Went and got a regular 9 to 5 for 17 and a half years. Got into an accident. I'm giving you guys a condensed version here. Got into an accident, so for part of rehabilitation to get my stamina back up, I decided to work in a haunted house. While sitting in those chairs waiting for your makeup to get done, watching these people get stuff painted, I was thinking to myself, yeah, I could probably do that, And so I asked a couple of people that worked there, the managers, and said, hey, you mind if I do a couple? I said, sure. They continued to let me do it for the rest of the year, and then the next year they asked me if I wanted to be a paid intern and learn from, at the time, there was some really good makeup artists that are now, one of them's a professional hair wig builder for Oprah Winfrey. So, you know, I got taught by these kind of people. It was a lot of fun. Then I showed my mom some of my makeup that I did, and I know it's kind of funny, but mom's, oh, it's not the medium you want, but maybe you should look into doing makeup. And I was kind of like, I don't think so. And then it was fun, but I just didn't, you know, I didn't think I had the ability to take it anywhere where it is, right? So I ended up meeting Joe Harlow. I don't know if anybody knows who Joe Harlow is. If you've seen any Johnny Depp movie from Edward Scissorhands to now, it's his personal makeup artist. The guy won, I think, was it 3 Emmys or something? Something like that for his makeup. Phenomenal makeup artist, even better person. Talked to him for a few hours. He's the one who actually made me go out and do what I'm doing now. And the reason why, after he's seen some of my work, the things that he said to me kind of stuck in my head. And the first thing he said is that you have a really good eye for bone structure and your work is clean and tight. You know, and inside I was kind of like gushing, oh my God, none of my stuff is clean and tight. And, but you know, it was kind of neat. And so I was like, well, maybe my mom was right. You know, I mean, this dude does this for a living and he's won all kinds of awards, you know, and he's working on Johnny Depp. Maybe there's something there. I just wish I started this career a lot sooner. I've only been doing it for what, 12? Well, since 2012 roughly is when I started. And usually people my age are starting to get out of it. So like my all-time favorite makeup artist right now is Rick Baker, and he's doing like personal projects now, I guess. You know, and a couple other guys out there too. So that's how I got into it. Yeah.
Yep.
This will probably surprise everyone. Growing up, I despised makeup. Absolutely detested it. I like movies. I like art. I wasn't very good at drawing or painting. I really just liked to roughhouse, and I was kind of an aggressive kid. I liked dancing, things like that. I fell into special effects as a way of art therapy, and through that, it just gave me something healthy to focus on. I was like, no, I can do this. This is awful. I can do better. And then it was, I can do better, I can do better, I can do better. And it just gave me something to really pour myself into. And now I can't think of anything that I'd rather do, honestly. From there I grew into sculpting, and I eventually learned a little bit of painting. So I did get better. I guess practice makes perfect, whatever. If you're looking to get into art, any type, makeup, whatever, you're gonna start out and it might be bad, and it's okay. It's okay to be bad, and it's okay to suck at something. Don't give up, push through, keep going.
Right.
I got into makeup, I think, because I was really big into Halloween. We would decorate our house. I loved scaring kids. Even though I was a kid, I was like, I want to scare everybody. I want to get like reactions and screams. So my dad would like paint my face. I would think I was a Grim Reaper. Like I swear to God, like 4 times in a row, because I just thought it was like the coolest, scariest thing to be the Grim Reaper. And I thought I was gonna be like a tattoo artist or a painter or like something. You know, I did all the different mediums. But then I took a community college class called Blood, Guts, and Gore, and I learned how to do, the first day was a broken nose, a cut with stitches, and a busted lip. And I thought this was really, really cool. This is fun. I think I did really well, like my first application with nose and scar wax. And then I remember going to Taco Bell afterwards and having it on my face and just getting the reaction from the people. They were terrified. This lady did not want to look up at me, and she was just like, oh my God. I like, freaking out. And I was like, this is Halloween every day. This is that reaction of scary people, or getting that kind of like overtly like crazy reaction from people, but I could do it all the time for movies or for myself, for photo shoots, for whatever. So I fell in love with that part, and that's still like why I love it. It's the best thing to get a reaction of, like, to see your art in like a 3D form like that and have it breathing and moving and interacting with people is really cool. So that's what I do.
I think you just nailed it right there when you said Halloween every day.
Yeah, exactly.
So my trajectory into makeup was a little different than a lot of artists I know. Surprising probably no one. I started out musical theater. I was a theater kid in high school, and it started a little bit doing stage makeup for like my friends and myself. And then when I went to school for theater, briefly, our requisite, we had to take some kind of stagecraft class, whether it was lighting or sound, or in my case, I took makeup. And we had to do covered eyebrows, basically. We had a small portion of stage makeup in the special effects, and so my model was the teacher's demonstration model, so I had my friend Lily in the chair get one eyebrow done, and then I did the other one. And when I did the other one, she came around and was looking at it, was like, wow, that one's better than mine. And a light bulb went off in my head. I'm like, well, you know, I don't want to wait tables my whole life to try to make my big break. Why don't I get into makeup? And I kind of like to say now that like drag makeup saved my life. I wouldn't be where I am today without drag and drag artists, and drag's not a crime. I owe a lot of my career to actually drag makeup, and even my audition makeup that got me on the Face Off was a drag queen named Countess von Dracula. And without her, I wouldn't have gone on this journey and met all these people and gotten to talk to so many people like you about art. And that's part of why I love doing vibrant, crazy characters in the midst of special effects, because I feel like you can really bridge the gap between, it doesn't always have to be horror as much as I love it. Obviously my piece yesterday was very much horror, and I have that love for it, which stems from my obsession with Buffy as a little 6-year-old, probably too young to watch it. But if I go back to it, then that's definitely another nugget of why. But to get into actual makeup and why I'm a makeup artist is, you know, because of drag.
So that was our last question. We actually have hit time, you guys. I'm so sorry that we didn't get to audience questions, but I do want to thank you all for being here, all of your beautiful work and inspiration that you've given to so many others, for putting it out there, standing out, doing the thing that makes you different, and not giving a shit about anybody else, and I'm very appreciative for that, and thank you again for being here today. You guys, make sure you stop by their booths again and speak with them and see their work and support them and give them love. Thanks for coming, guys. Thank you so much.
If you guys want to ask